Hello and welcome to your Inspired to Resign Weekly Wisdom. We are back with a very special guest today, and I am excited because we're talking about your non-negotiable dreams because it is so important, right? That we put our dreams out there, that we make them non-negotiable if we really want to make that happen. So I feel like Julie and I have been on the last week together. She was at my retreat last week and she does retreats. She's an amazing woman who you will hear from today. And let me just do a little quick intro. Julie Palmer is your retreat goddess. Who wants a retreat goddess? I mean, come on. We all want that retreat goddess. She is your soulful guide and the one who weaves sacred space so that you can achieve the results you desire. Her belief is that the transformational retreat women with exquisite experience create a complementary difference and elevated travel encounter. Julie's greatest desire is that your heart opens, your soul ignites, and you find awe in every moment. So beautiful. Retreats are life-changing. I mean, how many of you would agree with that? Just put me in the comments if you agree. Like, retreats are a life-changing experience. And through her role as a certified travel concierge, Julie specializes in retreats, bespoke travel, and group travel. So if you are one who has been to retreats or you want to create your own retreat, Julie is your person. She is amazing. So, Julie, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in this line of work.
Oh, that is a long story that we won't spend all of our time talking about. I will shorten it by saying I'm a Midwestern girl who believed the script that I think we were all told. Do well in high school, get good grades so you can get a scholarship to a good university. After university, get a really good corporate job. And so I did that, even though I felt something inside me, even at age 19, saying, I think there's something else you really love more. But I didn't even have the trust in myself that I could figure that out because I was so committed to believing in that script that said, this is where you are headed. And so for 25 years, I did pretty good, got to a point where I was in an executive position and making a healthy six-figure income. And yet I was becoming more and more unhappy. Mm-hmm. And Tammy, it was because I was growing and changing and on a spiritual path that had me becoming more true to who I truly am, which was really becoming not so congruent with the corporate environment. And so I trust the universe completely. I know that when I'm aligned, it wants what I want, right? And I had been really thinking about making a radical shift. And I guess I wasn't doing it fast enough because in July of 2016, I happened to be downsized. And that was actually the first day that I said out loud, I'm going to do events, which was what the 19-year-old Julie said she really wanted to do. And it was a beautiful alignment where I finally said, I have this dream, I have this passion that has nothing to do with where my life has been headed. And it's time for me to actually focus on that. So I'm going to be courageous. I don't know a thing about it, the doing this of creating a business, but that mattered less than knowing that I got to actually do what I love finally.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got inspired to resign, as we like to say. You found that, and my fellow Midwestern girl, I'm originally from Michigan as well. And it is. I feel like growing up in the Midwest, it's trained in you to work hard, to, go out and get a good job. And I grew up on a farm and I was like, I'm not farming. Like, that's a lot of hard work, but I don't want to do the handwork. Yeah. And it is, that realization, go out and those are the other options. It felt like is go to college, get a good job, go to college, get a good job. And I, can so resonate with your story. Is the higher up I got, the more it was like, oh, the politics, this just isn't congruent. There's, the integrity isn't always there in some ways. And not that that's with every organization and every place, because there's a lot of great places but there's people, right? And people are people, and there's people you're going to like and there's people you're not going to like. And so I love that you realized it wasn't congruent with what you wanted to do. You got inspired to resign. So you went into event planning.
Mhm.
And I know you grew a successful event business, and then COVID hit.
Yes, the big bad COVID monster decided
Mhm.
that it was going to absolutely cancel everything. And I saw 93% of my business go away.
Wow.
And that wasn't even what would organically show up, right? Because when you're in the events business, you have this rhythm that starts to develop where you've got whatever you choose to do. And for me, it was a mix of weddings and corporate events and private celebrations and a festival that I launched in my city, all
Mhm.
of which have large groups gathering, right? And so I found myself in the situation where, of course, I was not going to hold people to contracts, right? Because that wouldn't have been aligned with my integrity either. And all of it just suddenly went poof.
Yeah.
And I got to look at, well, what do I really want to do with this? Not only handling that kind of loss, which required a lot of use of the skills and the tools and everything I learned on this journey of personal development that this path I've chosen to be on as well.
Mhm.
And so I got a lot of time to think about that and to trust that even in the destruction of it, right, that wasn't terrible, that actually something new is going to grow from that. And I'm telling you, having the trust, that makes
Mhm.
all the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That belief, that trust, that dream that there's
Yeah.
something bigger. Now, at any point during that time, were you like, I need to go back and get a job?
There were a couple of thoughts like that.
Mhm.
My mother liked to say that to me often in her text messages, actually.
Yes.
And yet I couldn't, because I had actually made a vow to myself that I would never go back. And I would not go against that vow. It was too sacred. It really was. And so I'm grateful. I have the most wonderful, loving, and supportive husband who was able to keep working and took on a second job, even as my revenue went away.
Mhm.
And it was there. And I'll say in the silence, because when I'm not in the doing this, right, often the creative work that I do has me going within, right, finding inspiration and silently creating, right? And so I decided to be playful with it one day and simply spend some time on my computer with no agenda whatsoever to just dream a little bit. And often for me, it returns to France. I was a student of French for many, many years and love that land so very much. And so I was just kind of heading down a few different rabbit holes on my computer, looking at beautiful images and stories. And I still remember this lightning bolt moment when I came across the most beautiful image of a chateau in southern France, old stone structure with beautiful flowers growing outside. And it just hit me. I need to travel to this place. I felt it in my soul.
Yeah.
The first thought was coming from a tourist type desire.
Uh-huh.
So thinking about, oh, traveling with my family, my husband. But then that stopped. And what came over me was actually, no, the size of this place, the number of bedrooms it is begging to be something different. And that's when the whole possibility of retreats just showed up in that moment. And the download that followed, it took less than 2 hours.
Mhm.
And I had done all the research I needed to do.
Uh-huh.
I had a fully formed week-long retreat, completely planned out. Like I knew day by day exactly what we are doing based on the proximity of this beautiful chateau. And I basically turned my computer around to my husband and I said, look, darling, look what I just created.
Uh-huh.
And I'm telling you that was and will always be for me one of those exquisite life-changing moments.
Wow. Yeah. And I love how you said it hit you like a lightning bolt. And within 2 hours, you had it all planned out, you had it all figured out. And sometimes that's how it happens, right? We get that download. And it's like, either you can take action on it, like you have, and like, yep, I'm moving forward, or the download tends to dissipate if
Yeah.
we don't like take action in the moment, really look, what does this mean? What could this be for me? And then it will come back in another way some other time. And so I love that you took action on it. You've set up your business. How many retreats do you have planned this next year, 2022?
We're up to 4 right now. And I'm about to launch another one.
Hmm.
And the inspiration just comes and it comes and it comes. And I've had to figure out, how do I hold space for that to enter my consciousness, but
Yeah.
also lovingly set it aside, because I can't design, host, and fill 12 retreats, right? Even though the inspiration has me looking at, oh, this and this and this,
Uh-huh.
right? And so I've had to say, okay, whoa, a little bit, thank
Hmm.
you. And that's okay, because the others will happen, right?
Yeah.
Because I've already thought of them, right? And we know the first step in creation and manifestation is it starts as a thought, something from
Mhm.
inside us. And so I know they're going to become, because they
Yeah.
already have.
Right. Well,
And
and it
it's,
doesn't all have to be in one year, right? This is, plan
oh,
it out for the future year. So you've
yeah.
got a couple years now ready to go. And I love the way you talk about your retreats and how passionate you are about them. So you were sharing with us, there was the sensory one and the food one that, well, you had a different word for it, that I'm calling it food because I'm a foodie, but
Well,
so
yes, sensual Spain, because I really believe when we are in such an exquisite sensory experience, that it blurs into something that becomes sensual in a really beautiful, healthy way.
yeah.
And I want to explore the edge of that. And Seville has become the most perfect background and backdrop for that to happen. And that the intention for this retreat is really to explore how much I can delight what my guests will see and what they will hear and what they will taste, what they will touch, right? Everything involved in their senses, so that they feel this exquisite sense in their bodies of, this is what it means to really live vibrantly, to give myself permission to have whatever it is I desire, and
Yeah.
to not feel guilty about it, to not feel shame, that this is
Hmm.
what truly living actually means.
Yes, I love that. Truly living through your senses. And I mean, it's just the way, the passion you have around these, the thought you've put into making them this amazing experience. It's just beautiful. So I love
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. I appreciate
So
that.
as you've been getting your business going and up and running, and your new generation of business, because you've been had a successful business but had to stop it, as many people did during COVID, right? I mean, if you guys are listening and you're one that had to, I mean, I think everybody pretty much had to pivot. But if your business, like, I mean, you said 90% of your business went away overnight. And I've got clients in the event planning space, and the same with them, right? They had to figure out, okay, what do I do next? Where do I go with this? And, now being daring and saying, I'm going to get back out there and do retreats. We're going to put travel back on the map because people need it. People need to get out. People need to have an experience. And I am a huge believer in retreats, as you know, and I do retreats on my own. I co-facilitate retreats with another business coach. And every time I'm just blown away by the transformations people have, because when you take yourself out of that space of comfort
Mm-hmm.
and put yourself in another location with some other amazing, amazing women and get to experience this intimate yet transformational process that you get to go through when you're at a retreat. And so there's, we were talking about last week how there are so many different types of retreats and different ways people run retreats. And I think, Julie, you and I are probably really aligned with it. It's an experience, right? You want to create an experience for people that when they walk away, it has transformed their life in some way or another. It's made it better. It's made it bigger. They've they're able to connect with those dreams to really make them a non-negotiable,
Yes.
walk away from it with that.
Absolutely. And it's just pure magic. That's how I look at it in
Yes.
terms of what is possible. And I love being able to put my gifts in service to this kind of work. I really do, because of the remarkable shift that becomes possible. And it makes
Mhm.
my role so sacred. And that's how I really feel about it, because I'm driven to see what else can I weave into that experience, right? So that it supports that journey and that outcome, and that everything is aligned. And so there's this ease that comes along with diving deep, right? And doing the transformative work. And I believe in holding space for a group of people who've decided to be brave, right? And
Yeah.
go for it, right? So that they're cared for and they don't have
Mhm.
to worry about anything except doing their own work. And so to be able to provide the beautiful lodgings, right? And the exquisite food and the other activities to support whatever it is that they're up to. I mean,
Yeah.
that's sacred work when I think about it.
Absolutely. I love that. And so as you are, get busier and busier in your business and as things are moving, what's one of the number one priorities for you in your business?
Accessing ease, I realized.
Mm.
I think there, at least for me, and in what I've observed with other women who are building businesses, they're talk about scripts, right? And believing there's one way, but finding that there are many other ways to do what we do. We've been taught for so long that it's all about hustle and grind and hard work and sleepless nights. And I don't want to be available for that anymore, right?
Mhm.
I, as a woman, as a mother, as a daughter, as a wife, right? I want to be able to experience ease with everything I do. And that doesn't mean I don't have 6 hours of research where I'm doing all kinds of work on the computer, right? On behalf of a client. And that's okay. But yet that's joyful for me, right? I love it. And even when my wrists start to tingle, right? Because carpal tunnel sets in. Honestly, it's okay because I am in such a zone of bliss. And that's the kind of ease, right? And even knowing that I could dial things back a little bit to care for my daughter when she got sick, and then to care for myself when I got sick. And then I had a death in the family, right? And all that showed up one week after the next. But yet I was still paying attention to my business. I had the intention and the energy still attached to manifesting and creating and being open to opportunities. They were showing up, even as I was resting and caring for myself. And
Mhm.
that was really a significant shift for me, where it became really evident that it's possible to access ease and have a business that doesn't feel like a grind, doesn't feel hard and heavy, but feels light and expansive, and is so aligned with my divine purpose. And that's really where I feel like I'm at right now.
I love that. And yes, accessing with ease. I mean, it's so important that we support ourselves in that process of growth and making things, it's not that, and I always like to think of it as, you go through those cycles, right? There's times when you're in launch mode and you push, 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 push. And then it's like, okay, now you come down and you have those down times, but it's also having that support during those times. So it's not just you feeling like there's no support and people around you being able to make it easier because one, you know what to do, you know how to do it, you have people can help you to support you in doing it. And that's so much of doing things the right way, which is so much of what I focus on in my business, is helping people understand what do you need to be doing in your business when, because that makes it easier. That
Mhm.
makes things so much less stressful when you actually know when to implement different things, when to introduce things into your business,
Right, right.
how to get leads, how to get clients, how to make sales. All of those things come
Mhm.
with practice,
Yeah,
and every time makes it a little bit easier too.
absolutely. And I, as new business owners, right, looking at that expanse of everything that one must do is sometimes hard to figure out what to do first. But over
Mhm.
time, you figure it out right through fits and starts sometimes, right? Going down one path and realizing, okay, that way of selling doesn't align with me. So I need to shift it and find a way that's more authentic to me.
Yeah.
Or I'm doing this really well, but here's actually where I need some help. And then going after the support that raises you in that area. You
Yeah.
know, that for me is part of that wonderful, incredible adventure of being a business owner. And how you find support and the right kind of support, I think is really important too. And I would say my wish for others is stop listening to that message from a dozen different sources that says you have to do this and you have to do this and this, right? And it's overwhelming, right? But to be able to pause and say, I know who I truly am and how I operate and what my gifts are. I'm going to be really intentional about knowing what it is I need and being courageous enough to kind of test the waters or, you know, interview that coach rather than sign up for a $10,000 a month, you know, fee to work with them.
Yeah.
That we get to be confident in who we are and know what we need. And
Absolutely.
and I even know I have the sense that things are about to shift very, very significantly for me. And I'm going to be at a point where I suddenly need a team around me. And I'm not going to wait for that to happen to act. I'm actually working right now to really define what does a business manager role look like for me versus a virtual assistant or social media manager. What are those things that I know I need to support me so I can focus in that zone of genius that I know I possess? And it's exciting to be able to plan that out and have a strategy in place so that when the gates open, which I know they're about to, I'm ready for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Being ready to receive, being ready to act, being ready to take that dream and put it into action. Yes, yes, yes. So awesome. I know we could talk about this stuff for like ever because I know we're both so passionate about it. And so I know you've got a free gift that you want to give people that are watching. So tell us a little bit about that and what it is.
Well, I have this really great gift that for those who desire to host retreats, there are a lot of pitfalls and risks out there. And I've really put together a document that shares what are the most important ones that you need to be aware of and what can you do about it so you can be a successful host in your retreat. And I'm excited to share that with people. And I'm available for support. So, you know, all my consultations, the first one are free. And if so somebody has an idea or a beautiful concept, they just don't feel like they've got the confidence or the know-how yet, let's chat because, you know, often I can help people really understand exactly how they can go after creating that retreat for them and to do it so that it also feels easy for them.
Yes, absolutely. So you guys got to go grab that. I mean, if you are thinking about doing retreats, maybe you've already done one, but there's so many pieces that you didn't realize came with it. Go grab this from Julie because there are a lot of risks. There are a lot of things you know that you can set yourself up for better the first time if you just put some of these things in place, and then you may need Julie to come in and help you do it all because she has some amazing programs where she can help you just kind of like organize it. She's got programs where she will be there with you throughout the entire retreat and have her team there. So amazing, amazing support, which we all need. And it's so critical when you're trying to do a retreat and you're the one facilitating the whole thing. If you're trying to like organize everything and facilitate and do everything, I mean, you will overwhelm yourself. So take Julie's advice and do it with more ease by reaching out to her and talking to her about what that looks like. But thank you, Julie, for being on with us today. It was such a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, always, Tammy. I enjoy co-creating with you and I appreciate you and how aligned we are about this passionate thing called retreats.
Yes, absolutely. All right, you all think about what it is that's going to make your life and your business with more ease right now. What is that next thing you want to do? How can you do it with more ease? That's my challenge for you today. Think about it. Let us know in the comments what that is. So we will see you next week on the Inspired to Resign Weekly Wisdom.